Something happened to you today. You may not yet have the exact words to describe it, but something inside you has shifted, a vibration that wasn't there yesterday and now occupies the center of your awareness. I came here only to give you a name for what you're feeling. You've been carrying a weight, a question that no one around you could answer, and the fact that you're here right now is no coincidence. Today, June 6th, is not just a date on the calendar, it's an inflection point. A portal has opened, and you were brought here because your readiness has finally reached the frequency required to receive the 6 keys. For the time we walk together, you will recognize the 5 clear signs that have marked your life in recent weeks and understand what they truly mean for your path. You will grasp the unique pattern that has been blocking what you seek, and how that pattern is, in fact, being dismantled right now. And before we finish, a declaration will be spoken directly over your life, an activation that I believe is the reason this message found its destination today. Stay with me, because what I'm about to deliver is not information, it's recognition. You've been noticing things that most people overlook. You've been waking up, sometimes at the same hour, in the middle of the night, feeling a presence or a clarity that vanishes as soon as the sun rises. You've been experiencing intense emotional waves that arise without any apparent reason, as if something is being purged from your system. Conversations that once felt normal now bring you a strange emptiness, almost unbearable. You look at the people around you and realize that even though you occupy the same space, you no longer inhabit the same place. Your dreams have become vivid, almost tangible, and you carry a silent certainty that something greater is moving behind the scenes of your existence. None of this is mental confusion. It's not exhaustion, it's calibration. What you're feeling is the effect of a system being prepared for a greater load. It's the effect of a vessel being stretched to hold a truth that would have frightened you before. Attention! You need to prepare yourself now. I have prepared material for those who doubt their own calling from God and still do not have confirmation. Are you one of the chosen? We'll give you that clarity. These are the 7 signs of the language of the calling, marks of God in the story of every chosen one, so you can reread your story and recognize the purpose sealed over you before the foundation of the world. Stop calling coincidence what is actually a calling. Stop silencing the sacred restlessness. Stop postponing the answer you feel. Your window is closing, and a chosen one who does not recognize the calling does not walk in purpose. More than 10,000 people have already read the 7 signs and received the conviction they had been seeking for years. They were just like you. They felt something no one understood. They lived in silent doubt, and they discovered it was real. And it had a name. The offer is open only this month. Access the link in the pinned comment now, before doubt steals another year from your calling. You felt this call because the portal has aligned with your own biography. What you're living is not a problem to be solved. It's a summons to be answered. Take a deep breath now. Let that recognition settle in your chest. Your fingers typing these 3 numbers are your spirit saying yes. It's the smallest agreement possible, but it's a real agreement that seals your readiness for what comes next. Type 888, then come right back to me. The exhaustion you feel does not come from the work you do, but from the effort you make to maintain a structure that is no longer yours. You have been operating from a constant attempt to prove your worth, to justify your existence through visible results. But the truth is that the portal of 6 keys requires you to stop pushing doors that are already open. You have been living under the illusion that you need to force your way through walls, when your mission, in truth, is simply to walk through the portal that has already been placed before you. This is the deepest layer of your resistance. You were taught to believe that value is something you earn, when in fact what is happening now is an invitation for you to simply assume who you have always been. The pattern of resistance you carry is an old habit, inherited from a time when you needed to protect yourself to survive. But that time is over. The protective structure has become a containment structure. What you call bad luck or delay is, in truth, a strategic pause that the portal imposed so that you would not cross through with the weight of the past still attached to your back. Imagine for a moment a great ancient courtyard that you have never seen, but to which you have always belonged. You spent years trying to enter through windows, trying to scale the side walls, believing that access was forbidden or difficult. But what you didn't realize is that the main gate, the entrance that accommodates your true stature, was always unlocked. The 6 keys of consciousness are not tools to open external padlocks. They are the internal codes that make your vision shift focus. When one of these keys turns inside you, the reality around you rearranges itself automatically. You no longer need to fight against the flow. You only need to align with the frequency that now begins to vibrate in your spine. The portal is not a place you go to. It is a state you enter and from which you never leave. The diagnosis that now reveals itself to you is precise and admits no further denial. You are exhausted not by the number of tasks you carry, but by the inertia of sustaining an identity that no longer has purpose in this new cycle. The pattern of resistance you are breaking now is the habit of believing you need to justify yourself to be seen. For years, you believed your worth was measured by your ability to bear weight, to cross deserts without asking for help, to carry the burden of those who walk beside you. That defense mechanism, once vital, has become the main obstacle between you and the portal. You're not facing a crisis of destiny. You're facing the moment when your soul finally decides it will no longer accept living inside a box that has become too small for your spiritual stature. Exhaustion is merely the symptom of the collision between who you were forced to be and who you are called to become. The portal of 6 keys requires you to leave on the ground outside everything that does not belong to your essence. The first key is surrender, the recognition that the control you exercised was only an attempt to manage fear. The second key is presence, the act of anchoring your consciousness in the now, where time ceases to be linear and answers begin to bloom. The third key is clarity, the unobstructed vision that allows you to see that the walls you were trying to climb were only optical illusions. The fourth key is permission, the inalienable right to occupy your space without asking for leave. The fifth key is resonance, the ability to attract what vibrates at the same frequency as your truth. And the sixth key, the most powerful of all, is unification, the moment when you understand that the one seeking the key is the lock itself. Allow this declaration to fix your consciousness at this exact point in time. The act of writing these 3 words is your commitment that you will not retreat into the old pattern of doubt. Your presence is what activates the portal. Type, feel the weight of what you have just affirmed, and then come right back to me. The return to essence that is happening now does not require you to build anything. There is no complex action plan here, no course steps you need to complete. Your only responsibility from this point onward is to unlearn. You have been so busy trying to become a better version of yourself that you forgot the original version was already complete before the journey began. The gift is not something you receive out there. It is something you discover within, once the noise of external need is turned off. You are not being tested to see if you deserve access. You are being reminded that access was always available. The effort you devoted to proving your worth was a route mistake, a detour that, though painful, served to strengthen the muscles of your perception. Now, the task is stillness. It is the ability to hear the frequency emanating from the 6 keys as they click into place, one by one in your story. When you stop pulling the rope, the knot unties itself. When you stop clamoring for attention, your natural presence begins to command the room. You are in a process of transmutation, not reform. What is being born is not a new self, but the revelation of the self that always waited for the moment when you would be ready to recognize it. The door is open, not because you forced the lock, but because you finally stopped trying to lock it out of fear of being seen. What comes next is the harmony between what you feel and what manifests. An alignment only possible when you surrender to the process without reservation. Maintain that stillness, maintain that clarity. Do not let the movement of the external world steal the peace you have just found. The portal is your new address. If something inside you resonates with the truth we have just aligned, if your spirit recognizes the frequency that was touched in these minutes, let your gesture of approval be your wordless amen. Do not see this as a metric or a number to be reached, but as a silent seal, an internal agreement that what was said here was not heard by chance. It is a recognition between your spark and the message that found it. Every time you make this movement consciously, you are marking the territory of your own clarity, confirming that the tuning was received and that the message is no longer external, but an integral part of your own internal landscape. Take a deep breath, for this is the moment to look beyond yourself. There is someone in your life, someone whose face has just appeared on the screen of your mind, who desperately needs this frequency. Think of the person you know who has been working exhaustively in silence, someone who carries a contained nobility, someone who, like you, has maintained a posture of strength while the world around them seems not to see the depth of their soul. That person is waiting for a sign that the path they have been walking has a greater purpose. Send this transmission to her, not as a casual suggestion or just any content, but as a designated delivery. You were the arrival vehicle for this message, and your role is to ensure it reaches the recipient who was prepared by life itself to receive it at this exact moment. Before we move into the final unfolding of this journey, I want you to ground yourself in the authority that has been conferred upon you. Do not write them as a wish, nor as a request, but as a decree from one who has finally understood their position on the board. The use of these words is the signature of your acceptance, the moment when doubt about your purpose ceases and the certainty of your mission takes command. Type slowly, feeling each letter as if you were engraving your identity into the fabric of your own destiny. What you affirm here with your hands is what your life will begin to manifest with total clarity from today onward. You are committed, you are commissioned, you are sent. Your walk is no longer an exercise of trial and error, but a succession of precise steps toward what already belongs to you. You are committed to the truth that, before it was spoken, already inhabited your silence. You are commissioned to be the bridge between what was invisible and what is about to become your concrete reality. You are sent to carry this light into a world that has often forgotten how to look up, being the living proof that scarcity was never your place of origin. There is no more weight, because what you were carrying was not your responsibility, but a baggage that the portal in its opening gently removed from your shoulders. You now walk with the lightness of one who knows exactly where their foot must land, guided by a compass that never fails, the compass calibrated by your own surrender to the process. Every move you make from now on will be carried by this new authority, and the doors that once seemed insurmountable will begin to open with the naturalness of one who simply recognizes their rite of passage. What you left behind is no longer part of your story, for the new chapter you write is governed by the law of abundance that you have finally accepted as your only law. Feel the air you breathe now. Air that carries the freshness of a new beginning, that needs no fanfare, only your constant and unobstructed presence. Your journey is proof that nothing is lost in time. Everything transforms at the exact hour when your heart becomes capable of bearing the light it always sought. You are no longer in the dark, you are no longer lost. You are exactly where your soul asked to be, in the clearing of the portal where your life meets its meaning. What you feel now is the peace that surpasses understanding, the same peace that sustains the universe, and that, from this second onward, sustains every one of your steps. The transition you are crossing is not a loss, but a relocation of forces. Often the weight you feel does not belong to your destiny, but to the baggage you insisted on carrying out of sheer loyalty to a past that has already fulfilled its purpose. As we observe the 6 keys of consciousness, we see that the first of them is the detachment from guilt. You spent years trying to fix wounds that were not caused by your hands, carrying the responsibility of balancing environments that never intended to flourish. The second key is the clarity of no. Learning to withdraw your energy from places where your essence is not watered is perhaps the deepest act of self-love you can exercise. The third key is the acceptance of your own speed. The world demands haste, demands that you harvest the fruits before even planting the seeds, but your soul understands the rhythm of the seasons. The fourth key is strategic silence. Not everything you perceive needs to be communicated to be validated. The fifth key is authority over your own inner space, protecting your vibrational field from external interferences that try to dictate your worth. And the sixth key, the most powerful of all, is absolute trust in your intuition. That voice you often silenced for fear of seeming irrational is, in truth, the most precise compass you possess. When you align these 6 keys, the portal that once seemed insurmountable reveals itself as merely a mirror. What you sought outside, in achievements, recognition, or approval, was always kept at the center of your own stillness. It is not about reaching a new level, but recognizing that the level is already your foundation. The effort you employed up to now was the forge that prepared your character to bear the lightness of the new phase. Do not try to rush the process, for the time of harvest does not obey the clock of men, but the pulse of the life that dwells within you. Allow yourself to float among these truths, feeling each one as if they were seeds being planted in fertile soil. You no longer need to fight against the current, for the current now flows in the same direction as your purpose. The resistance you felt was only the echo of your own attempt to control the uncontrollable. By letting go of the reins, you discover that you were never the rider, but the path itself. Notice how your breathing changes when you release control, how your shoulders drop, how the tension that lived at the base of your skull dissipates. This is freedom manifested. You are no longer on the battlefield of survival, you are in the garden of existence. Every thought that arises now is an opportunity for reset, a chance to replace the old narrative of scarcity with a new melody of abundance and purpose. What you are living is not isolation, it is preparation, a necessary incubation for the strength that needs to emerge through you. Do not underestimate the calm that precedes the next move, for it is in that calm that the direction of everything to come is decided. Keep your eyes fixed on what is eternal, not on what is temporary. Your truth is non-negotiable, and your peace is your greatest triumph. What was revealed here is not a theory, it is the structure of your own reality being redesigned from the inside out, piece by piece, until no gaps remain between who you are and what you manifest. Feel the presence of this new clarity, like pure air filling your lungs after a long journey at altitude. The movement you feel now is not a coincidence, nor a simple fleeting desire for change. It is the biological and spiritual response to the alignment of the 6 keys that since June 6th have begun to turn on the axis of your life. When you understand that you no longer need to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, you realize that the force that drove you was only a mask for your own need for external validation. Now, the energy that was once dissipated in tasks that did not resonate with your essence is being redirected toward the construction of an unshakable clarity. Imagine that each of these keys is a sound frequency that, when played together, dissolves the barriers you yourself erected for safety. The first key is self-authorization, the right to validate yourself without the witness of others. The second is clarity of intention, where the focus shifts from the result to the quality of your presence. The third is disidentification from pain, the recognition that the traumas of the past are scars, not the map of your future. The fourth key is acceptance of the natural rhythm, the end of the haste that prevented you from seeing the opportunities that were already available, but which you ignored out of anxiety to reach a destination that was always here. The fifth key is mastery over your own inner space, protecting your vibrational field from external interferences that try to dictate your worth. This is freedom manifested. Let this declaration become a landmark on your timeline, a point of return you can always look back to. Type now, and then immediately return to me. As the dust settles and the new landscape reveals itself before your eyes, you may realize that the urgency you felt yesterday was only the anticipation of something you already carried in your blood. Your walk was not in vain. Every tear, every night of vigil, every moment of forced silence was, in truth, a demarcation of territory that you did not know you were making. Now, the path is clear. If anything and everything we have said here touched the deepest structure of what you recognize as truth, let your gesture of approval be your wordless amen, not as a number on a screen, but as the signature of a sacred agreement. And in this moment, I want you to look at the invisible side of your life. There is someone you know, someone who has been strangely quiet lately, someone who works with silent diligence, as if waiting for a door to open that they themselves cannot see. That person bears the mark of choice, but is still under the weight of fatigue. The face of that person appeared in your mind just now, not by chance, but by a responsibility of care. Send this message to her, not as advice, but as a delivery, a gift you pass on, because you understood that light, when divided, only expands. Before we close this cycle, I want you to declare your final position, not as a request, but as a seal of authority over the new season you have just inaugurated. Your journey didn't start today, but the clarity around it was granted at this exact hour, under the influence of the 6th of June, which acts as a watershed moment on your timeline. When you look at the 6 keys that were handed to you, don't see just concepts or guidance. See the tools that align your inner self with what the universe already set aside for your destiny. You no longer have to fight the current. Your only task now is to stay ready, alert for the opening of the portal that presents itself precisely until 23 hours and 6 minutes. There is a force that now supports your step, a force that doesn't require you to prove anything to anyone, because your worth has already been ratified in the silence of your steadiness. Many search outwardly for what can only be found in the stillness of their own essence, but you, by arriving here, show that you already understand the master key is the awareness of your own choice. Take a deep breath. Let the weight of previous years dissolve, because you are transitioning into a frequency where abundance is not an achievement, but a natural state of being. The time remaining before this portal activates is a sacred opportunity to withdraw and let the 6 keys do the fine-tuning work on your vibration. Don't try to understand with logic. Feel it with your soul. What is real needs no justification, only recognition, and in that recognition, you find your peace, your strength, and your direction. You are committed, you are commissioned, you are sent. Right now, at this very moment, in every corner of the world, other souls are receiving the same revelation, each in their own process, yet all connected by that invisible thread you now recognize. You are part of a silent movement that needs no fanfare to transform reality, and it is precisely because it is invisible to the ordinary world that your action is so powerful. The journey you began here is the building of a new foundation, where your voice gains authority and your presence becomes the very answer you have been searching for. Attention! You need to prepare yourself now. I have prepared material for those who doubt their own calling from God and still do not have confirmation. Are you one of the chosen? We'll give you that clarity. These are the 7 signs of the language of the calling, marks of God in the story of every chosen one, so you can reread your story and recognize the purpose sealed over you before the foundation of the world. Stop calling coincidence what is actually a calling. Stop silencing the sacred restlessness. Stop postponing the answer you feel. Your window is closing, and a chosen one who does not recognize the calling does not walk in purpose. More than 10,000 people have already read the 7 signs and received the conviction they had been seeking for years. They were just like you. They felt something no one understood. They lived in silent doubt, and they discovered it was real. And it had a name. The offer is open only this month. Access the link in the pinned comment now, before doubt steals another year from your calling.